This shit is really unbelievable. Okay. Now these people served me some paper saying I got 24 hours or I'm gonna be evicted out of my property. I've been here. This is my 10th year. Going on the 10th year. I filed for Hurricane Harvey relief, FEMA program. Oh, they say the government is shut down. They never took your application in to give y'all any kind of help or relief. And then the property has been without electrical services and water, because of the disaster that happened. It was a natural disaster area. Now they want to evict you out of a place that was in the ruins from some natural disaster in the area. Okay, and then I'm here left trying to pick myself up and live after such a thing. It's not anybody's fault. You can only blame God for the natural disasters. We've been without water and lights, trying to get help from the government, but the government is shut down. Now they want me to vacate the place and don't have nowhere to go. Where I was already in a ruined place. It was already living together in ruins. Now, I think it's unconstitutional, and I want to remain civil. I'm recovering from gunshot wounds, okay, in my abdomen. It's wide open. I'm showing you how the shot was right here. I had to pull it out from out of here. I want to remain civil. I don't want to get into no standoff. I'm not going to make no threats. Right now I'm weak. I can't even fight. I'm not trying to stand up against the government and get myself killed. In the line of fire, okay, fire, shoot me up. Boom, I'm dead. I want to remain civil. I want to prove my legitimate residency here, or I have a legitimate claim to being here. I'm a United States citizen. I'm going to exercise all of the rights in the law of the United States Constitution, because I think something in this law that they have in the city of Houston and the state of Texas is unconstitutional by the laws of the United States. Every civilized nation, there's a felons law. It's called the felons law, which was originally a law for the free people in Egypt from the land of bondage to set them free. It's the law from the Hebrews to all of the Semitic branches of people, the felons law. All civilized nations has a felons law to protect people who live in poverty and to protect their properties from being seized by overlords and from government officials and standing officers standing against them to seize their properties. This was also part of the argument in all of the American Indian Wars when they had the Trail of Tears and the Indian Removal Act. If I'm a pre-Columbian person, an Indian, in this Illuminati-controlled, European-dominated United States that they have formed in North America. They had the Indian Removal Act and trying to remove us. Those laws have been abolished. Texas was formerly a slave state that tried to cede from the laws from then it was called the Union. They didn't want to obey the law of the Union. And it was Confederate against the United States Constitution. So now remnants of these same people are still now trying to pass laws in these days, which I believe this one, in my case, is unconstitutional by the laws of the United States. And Texas cannot cede back into some Confederate type of government here that is adversary to what the laws say in the Union. They had to defeat the state of Texas. the United States deceived them into the Union because they were formerly a Confederate state. So these people are trying to bring old slave laws and old laws to restrict people. These laws of the United States made us a free people, like it says on the Statue of Liberty. Bring me your tired, you're hungry, yearning to breathe freely. And we should be able to breathe freely down here in Texas as a Negro, as an Indian, as any non-white person, any Aboriginal bloodline or Semitic or Hamitic people who are non-white people, who are non-European, who are not Gentiles. This land is for all civilized people, no matter what your color of your skin or what everything Martin Luther King said. You can't judge them by the color of their skin, but by the content of someone's character. So this is why I'm speaking civil. I want to remain civil. I don't want to appear to be a hostile terrorist trying to make threats about what I'm going to do. It's not what about I'm going to do. Think not about what I'm going to do to your country, but think what your country is going to be indebted to me and what they're going to have to repay me after I am viewed. I want to be publicly viewed by the courts under the laws of the United States Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, for civilized and free people to remain at liberty. What the Statue of Liberty says, for us to be a free people. No European monarch, anybody from Great Britain is not the rightful leader of a free people down here. So they need to examine all the laws under the Union, under the Declaration of Independence, before they could pass any judgment on me in this state of Texas. In Texas, especially in Texas, they need to really look in their law books and see that Texas is not part of the Confederacy anymore. It's a Union state, and they have to obey the laws of the United States. For us to be a free people, this is the land of my opportunity. I need to be able to pursue my happiness here, for I could be happy. They force me to be removed. It's like the Indian Removal Act and all of the slave laws they're trying to reinforce to reform their Confederacy and their redneck pride against the Negroes and the black people, the niggers. And make laws that make us second and third class citizens to some master race over us because they're white, because they are what we call mulattoes mixed with their white privilege mentality, thinking they're white privilege because the color of their skin. This is what Martin Luther King spoke about before. You can't judge a person just because they're white or just because they're light skinned. They shouldn't have no privilege. You judge those same people by the content of their character and what they're worth to all of humanity, all of the inhabitants and everything that is blessed by God in America. That's what makes me a civilized person who has laws by under the United States Constitution, for me to remain free, for me to remain independent of some overlord or some monarch over me or some, person from the master race over me because they're white, because they're light-skinned, or because they're in the Spanish Inquisition, or because they're any type of white privilege from Europe over a Negro. They shouldn't have such a thing. We are all deemed created equal. And it's equal rights. Whatever can be done to me can be done to all. And the Fedin's law for the poor people, the government should not be able to seize my property or to seize my things or remove me out of my land long as I am civil and abide in the law of God, live by the 10 Commandments. There are no complaints about me being such an evil one or unbeliever who didn't do what God says to do. I'm doing what God says to do. I live as an independent entity here. I am an independent person by the laws of the United States Constitution. Can you dig it? Sucker.